everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Chantal and today we're going to be cooking again. Today we're actually going to be making easy mac and cheese. And let me tell you, it's really easy to make. We're going to start off with our cheese. And in this recipe I'm going to be doing it with 3 different types of cheeses. Of course we have our cheddar that we're familiar with, and I've already shredded that. We have our pepper jack, and it's a creamy texture, and it also has a little bit of that little spice that you're going to feel in the back of the throat. Not much, but just a little bit. And in this one we have our fontina. Now that one is even creamier, and it has a more mild than provolone, and we're going to combine all of those. We're also going to be doing our crunchy topping with some breadcrumbs. Of course, we're going to need our milk and our flour and butter for our roux. But I'm also going to give this a little twist on the topping other than just our breadcrumbs. I'm going to be using pancetta. And this is what pancetta looks like. It's Italian bacon rolled, and they put some spices in here. You can see some of the black peppercorns in here. It's delicious. It gives it a lot of flavor. You don't have to use pancetta. You can use regular bacon if you want to, or no bacon at all. But cheese and bacon in the same recipe for me, delicious. So let's move everything aside here. I've already got the pasta cooking. It's almost done, so I'll have to get to that in a second. So we're gonna start cutting our pancetta. We're gonna cube it into little tiny, probably like ½ an inch, if that, maybe smaller. And when we cook it down, we're gonna render that down. It's gonna shrink, the fat's gonna melt, and you're just gonna be left with crunchy little bits. And we're gonna use that on the topping. I'm also going to be rendering it in the pot that I'm going to be making the cheese with. So it's gonna add flavor to the pot, which is then gonna add flavor to the mac and cheese. So let's get this all cubed up. Every time I go to the butcher and I ask for pancetta, I always ask for 2 1/4 inch thick, and they look at me really funny. I don't know why. You would think it'd be more popular. So it's okay. So we're gonna almost done cutting this. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go check the pasta. Give me 1 second. All right, so I took the pasta out, drained it. It's in here waiting, and now I started rendering down the pancetta. Okay, so it looks like this. All right, we're gonna cook this till it's almost crispy, and it's gonna give us just a little bit of the fat that I need to use when I make the roux. The roux is very simple. That's what's gonna thicken the sauce, and it's equal parts of fat and flour, believe it or not. So you're gonna put the flour in, and you're gonna cook that off to take the taste, that floury taste out, and then put in the fat, whether it's some of this or butter. And we're used to using butter as our fat, so equal parts. You're gonna put that in there, and you're gonna cook that until it turns like a light tan color. And then after that is when you slowly add the milk, and it will thicken, and then add the cheese. That's how easy it is to make mac and cheese, the sauce, the cheese sauce. I've actually done that for just dipping some tortilla chips. You could add cayenne pepper into that, and it'll give it that nice extra kick in the back of your throat. So nice spicy cheese with your chips. It's delicious. So this is almost rendered down to how I like it. So it's gonna look like this, rendered down. Okay, and I have about, I wanna say 2 tablespoons of fat in there, which is a good amount. Okay. So I'm going to take a paper towel, take them out. All right, so now this is the roux. We put our fat and our flour equal parts, and we're just going to cook this down. Keep stirring it, get all those lumps out, and then you're going to stir what's left in the bottom of the pot when you render the pancetta. Now obviously you're not going to have that if you didn't have pancetta or bacon. So you would just keep stirring until you get a light tan color and all the lumps out. You have to cook the flour out. Otherwise, it's gonna taste very bland. You could add some salt and pepper here if you wanted to, but don't forget, the pancetta is very salty and there's a lot of salt in the cheese. So, this is almost ready for the milk to be added. Just wanna make sure that I get all the bottom scraped up, because that's gonna add the flavor. Almost there. You can almost smell when that flour is cooked out. Okay? You don't want your heat on high at this point. You just want to do it slowly. So I have mine on medium. All right, so now we're gonna add our milk. I use whole milk for this. All right, we're gonna add it slowly because it's going to thicken instantly. But you gotta keep stirring it at this point here. Because like I said, you're gonna have a lot of lumps if you don't keep stirring at this point. Hope you guys can all see what it looks like at the beginning. Yes, it's lumpy at the beginning, but keep stirring. It'll work its way out. Believe it or not, it'll come together. That was just 1 cup of milk that I added. I'm gonna add a little bit more in a second once this comes together and all the lumps are out. So just keep stirring. You gotta be patient with this when you're making this first part before you add the cheese. This is what's gonna make the magic. That nice creamy cheese sauce is the roux at the beginning. All right, let's add our 2nd cup of milk slowly. Stir it. You can make a roux for gravy if you wanted to make a brown gravy. You want to make your sausage gravy for sausage gravy and biscuits. All starts off this way. Add a little bit more, keep mixing. And you can see when it comes together how it gets all nice and creamy. Let's add the rest of that. So that was 2 cups of milk, okay? Turn it up a little bit so to bring that milk up. You don't want to boil it though. Not like a hard boil. When it starts to bubble, you're going to turn it down, and then that's when we're going to add our cheese. You can see the steam rising, so I know it's coming to a nice temperature. I know this looks difficult because of all the stirring, but you don't really, it's not hard, it's not difficult. I've seen some people where they just add all the milk, stir it to let all the lumps out, and then just leave it on a low heat to gradually thicken. But I like doing it like this because I can add my cheese and it's done right away. All right, you can see the steam coming up even more now. And that nice creamy, no lumps in here. Delicious. Again, you could add your seasoning if you wanted to. But I have enough here with the pancetta and the pepper jack with that little heat. All right, so now I'm gonna start adding my cheese, believe it or not. This is the cheddar. I'm going to reserve a little bit of the cheddar for the topping. So slowly add this. And this was 1 pound that I shredded. I prefer to shred my own cheese because the cheese that you get at the store that's already shredded, they actually coat it so it doesn't stick in the package. Whereas this, it's fresh. I know there's nothing coated on to the cheese. All right, this, it's already melting. Delicious. Now, let's add our pepper jack. And this was a 1/2 pound. So, and this is gonna give a nice creamy, a little heat in the back of your throat, little flavor. You don't have to have pepper jack if you don't like the heat. You could add just cheddar cheese if you wanted to. I've made this before where I've added 5 cheeses. I've added Asiago and little bit of mozzarella. I added the mozzarella on the top with the cheddar. Not much flavor in the mozzarella, but just wanted to give it that little extra ooey gooey pull that we're so used to. All right. Stir this in. Look at this ooey gooey cheese mixture here. Delicious. Combining all together. Look at that. Now let's add our fontina. This is even creamier texture. So a fontina is softer than a provolone and a milder flavor of a provolone. Provolone is actually softer and mild flavor than an Asiago. Asiago is a mild flavor of a Parmesan. All right, added all that fontina and look at this. How ooey gooey cheesy does this look? Let's get this all melted together. Slowly combining, all melted together. All right, we're gonna turn the heat off because I can see all the cheese has melted. Look at that. Creamy, cheesy, ooey gooey. All right, so now we're gonna add this to our pasta. All right, so now let's pour this ooey gooey cheese mixture in here. I don't want to pour all of it right now, just in case. Okay, I would like to mix it, and then if I need to add more, I could always add more. And more is always better when it comes to cheese. So look how ooey gooey this is turning out to be. Delish! I can't wait to taste this. I've already buttered a Pyrex bowl that I'm gonna put this in, and we're gonna put the toppings on and then put it under the broiler for a little bit. Oh my goodness, look at that, delish. Let's add some more, why not, huh? All right. The next day it always gets really thick. The pasta absorbs all the cheese. It's okay, it still tastes delicious. So, look at this. How scrumptious does this look? You could have this as your main course or as a side dish. Totally up to you. Delish. I'm just gonna go ahead and put all of this in because I wanna make sure that when I take a bite, all of it has this ooey gooey cheese. Okay. I want the cheese to go in the holes of the pasta. There we go. That's what I want to see, the nice creamy texture. All right, now let's go put this in a Pyrex bowl. All right, let's put this in. This is heavy. This is when help is needed. One holds the pot while the other one scrapes it in. All right, without making a mess. Ooh, heavy. Look how creamy this is. Scrape all that out. I want to get all this sauce. I don't want to waste any of it. Let's put that. There we go. Put this back here. Okay. Hope everybody can see how delicious this looks. All right. Perfect. Let's spread that out even. All right, so now let's make our topping. So put this to the side. Now we're gonna melt a tablespoon of butter and then just put a couple tablespoons, maybe a quarter of a cup of breadcrumbs and mix that together. And I'm gonna sprinkle that on top, then the rest of the cheese and then the pancetta. All right, so you melt the butter, mix your breadcrumbs together, and now we're gonna sprinkle this on top. Okay, you can give it that nice crunch to go with that nice creamy texture. Okay, spread that everywhere. There we go. Now let's add our cheese, the rest of our cheese. There we go. And now for our pancetta. I could snack on these little crunchy bite-size saltiness all day. Again, you don't have to add this, but to me, bacon and cheese together in the same dish, delish. All right, so let's put this under the broiler until the cheese has melted. All right, who's ready for this? Nice golden brown on the top, super hot. Again, I have to take a bite. Ooh, can you hear how creamy this is? Look at that cheese, just oozing. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be so delicious. Of course, I forgot to grab a fork. Oh my goodness. How delicious does this look? All right. The crumb topping, the cheese on the top all melted, golden brown. I gotta have a bite with everything. Pasta, the cheese sauce, some pancetta. So ooey gooey, delicious. and hot. I hope you guys try this recipe. This is super easy, how to make mac and cheese. You can use one type of cheese or you can use several different types of cheese. I'll put the recipe in the bottom. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you subscribe, hit that notification bell so that way you know when my next video comes out. Thanks everyone.